Whopper with cheese, no onion. I'm Catherine Enny. I'm CEO and founder of Guerrilla Management. Also, I'm producer of the Emerald Cup competition and festival, which is considered the Academy Awards of cannabis competitions, according to Rolling Stone. So I want to thank Letha and Scott for having me here. I've already been absolutely inspired. Last night was great to meet a lot of you in the room. So we talked about the who, and then we're going to go into what. So we're going to talk about weed and the industry. So I pivoted from music industry, being a manager, started off as an engineer, a producer first, and then got into management. And what I specialize in is basically talent management, event management, brand management. And I decided to get into the cannabis industry after 20 plus years in the music industry because I saw the opportunity to change the lives of millions of people in the world, just dipping into cannabis, coming from Northern California, of course. It's all over the place. So for me, I'm a true believer of medical marijuana, rec use, et cetera, et cetera. And so I pivoted from music to cannabis probably 6 years ago. One thing I wanted to share, yay, is, what's my vice? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? So actually, I'm not in sex industry, and I forgot why I wrote San Francisco is sexy. I think I was trying to be clever, but that's a vice, right? But we're one of the first cities to incorporate a union for sex workers, so I'm very proud to be from there and support that. Cannabis industry, as you know, we still have our training wheels on. We'll talk about that a bit and the disruption that's going on. And then music industry, Roselle, you know about this. I'm not in the gambling industry, but music industry is a high stakes game, right? So we could talk about that. My story from a 30,000 foot level. So these are my touch points I'm hoping we're gonna have in the conversation. So pivoting, music to cannabis, we touched on that. Be the change, vice industry banking issues from 50K to 80K. That's a story that we could talk about during conversations. It's a pretty interesting story where I had to have $50,000 in my backpack for the music industry, going on my first tour with the first band I managed, to just last year, over 20 years later, in the cannabis industry, having to pay a vendor, run to SFO. Because there are cash issues or banking issues, I had to have $80,000 in my backpack to do drop, right? Because we have banking issues. Sometimes we can't get funding, we can't get a credit card. I have an event, the Emerald Cup. Since we touched the plant and we have a marketplace, we can't accept credit cards from our exhibitors. It's either got to be an old school paper check or it's got to be cash drop. And still that exists, I'm just surprised. Lifestyle, vice culture is growing into an industry. The government is still learning. The industry and the brands are still learning. That's something that we teach during our event and also beyond. So we'll touch on that a little bit. Inspiration, follow your dreams, persevere, meet the most important people in the room. I'm already inspired. I think everybody in this room is important, amazing. The brainiacs and the creativity and the conversations I had just the past 24 hours has inspired me. And I think the collective creativity and intelligence in this room can make great change. So I support that. What's next? Cannabis tech, music, lifestyle, disruption, and sustainable solutions. It's very important to talk about that. Pivoting, we talked about that. Gone are the days of one career, one job. I think a lot of people relate to that post-COVID and also just in this room, entrepreneurship, et cetera. My story, again, pivoting. I think just talking about, being able to take one work skill set, whether it's, basically, you're nodding your head, basically from being a manager, stage production, I was able to apply those skills for a random client of mine that wanted to have a 5,000 square foot restaurant in downtown Napa. Took my skills of figuring out stage production, stage design, turn it into designing the restaurant. I will not do that again. So the thing I wanted to bring home today and just being here at PopTech is finding solutions. Again, sustainable solutions. I like solutions. So, and again, I think everybody in this room can add value to any conversation, anything they put thought to. So, you know, in the cannabis industry, vice industries, finance, investment, and advertising. As another example, for cannabis, we cannot advertise weed, cannabis, even the word sometimes on Google or Facebook, we get shut down. Even though we're just an event, we touch the plant, we sell. So they will lock us out, and that has happened. So that needs to change as well. Sometimes you just have to work with the monsters, not saying he's a monster, but you have to work with corporations, you have to work with government, you have to work with Wall Street, right? The DCC, Department of Cannabis Control, is an example. Last year we had them at the event, plus we had small farmers that are going through a very difficult time right now. The small farms in California specifically cannot evolve. They don't know about branding, marketing. These are just dealers and growers that are now trying to adapt and innovate to become a big business, to make money. With the DCC, we had issues between small farmers and the government, Department of Cannabis Control, because the small farmers wanted to show their goods. They wanted to open the jars. They wanted people to smell it. They got shut down. So this time around, December is our event, we invited the DCC, we're talking to them, we're partnering with them to educate the government. And they are educating us on what we need to do to create a partnership. So in any case, Obama, yes, I'm sure he inhales, but yes, but again, meet people in government, lobby, do whatever you need to do. Inspiration, again, I think I don't need to share that with everybody in this room. Everybody's just so inspiring. Like I said, I've had so much thought-provoking conversation already with a lot of you. So be inquisitive, talk to strangers, be bold, be nice. Oh yes, the best compliment I ever got was from one of my assistants. You taught me not to say no until every possibility of yes has been exhausted. And that's how I like to do business and run my life. Basically, yes, 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 but sometimes you have to say no. Cannabis, tech, music, lifestyle, disruptors, being a positive disruptor. So important. A disruptor is a person or a company that changes the traditional way an industry operates, especially in a new and effective way. Everybody in this room, I think let's do it. That's all I have to say. Conversation time. Thank you.